More than 1,000 women from around the continent have converged in Kempton Park for the African Women in Dialogue Conference. This dialogue seeks to place focus on strengthening African women's movement within the Fourth Industrial Revolution.
And of course, yesterday, quite a few interesting issues coming up about, for example, supporting female candidates who would be running for political position, especially that of president across the country, by setting up a fund to actually look into that and many more. But let's find out from our reporter, Nthakoana Ngatane, who is attending that particular dialogue, to tell us more. Nthakoana, good morning.
Good morning, Sakina.
So please do tell us, recap for us what happened there yesterday and also what we can expect at the dialogues today.
Well, Sakina, as you've indicated, I think for me and for a lot of women who have aspirations to go into politics, one of the key issues that came out of this yesterday was the idea that there should be a fund to help women who want to run for office. And this came from UN Women South Africa Director Ngituku Shongwe. She was part of a panel that included women from Gender Links, from SADC, but also included the former Pan-African Parliament President, Dr. Gertrude Mongela. And of course, the other issues that came out, as you've said, this is a forum that is looking at the role of women and the inclusion of women in a world that is going towards the Fourth Industrial Revolution, and talking about issues such as ensuring that the values of African Ubuntu, if you like, remain even in the era of the Fourth Industrial Revolution, to ensure that young people who develop whether you call it robotics and other applications that will ensure that women are included, should also maintain the values of us as a continent. But let's talk about that key issue that we spoke about with Linda Vilakazi. She's one of the organizers. Now, we know that in Kenya, something called Eco Network already exists. It was launched last week, and these women are saying that it is important to ensure that women have resources to go into office.
Absolutely, and these are some of the things we expected to happen, because what the platform seeks to do is to ignite women to take charge of their own lives and destiny. So the same incident on the funding in Kenya excites us because it sends the message now across the continent. We deliberately brought women here so that we can connect and ensure that we start talking to each other across borders, but we energized each other. As you would remember, we are now on day 2 of a 5-day dialogue, and yesterday was really more about opening, bringing energy and getting everybody to understand what this is all about. But what excited us was that we already had ideas like this one coming up. We already had women talking strongly about what does it really mean to be in the Fourth Industrial Revolution, and we were pleased to let them know that actually the whole of Wednesday is dedicated to that, and we should emerge out of it. But just before Wednesday, our aim today, this afternoon, is to sit for the rest of the afternoon and get our heads around what sort of value system do we require to ensure that women are included. Because we strongly believe that from time immemorial, the kind of values and systems that have been there have always inhibited women from taking full charge of their lives. As we all know, we always fight lots of stereotypes. So we're expecting a really groundbreaking thinking ideas by the end of today from women who would say, as we enter the Fourth Industrial Revolution, what sort of value set and ecosystem do we require? As women put their hands up for politics, in what sort of framework and value system, so that we don't have the tragedies of the past, where sometimes we field women and 2-5 years later we can't even recognize them. And sometimes we want to blame them as individuals and say, so and so, what happened to you? But we immediately forget that at times being in those positions is quite complex and difficult. So we'll be unpacking the kind of support, the kind of systems that we want to propagate for Africa, and say how should we behave, how should we work in all sectors of what we'll be doing.
Now, while you have this idea that you want women to be together, there are still challenges around the divisions, language, regions, and so on. They are appearing here.
Absolutely, and that's why from yesterday afternoon up until today at lunch, we've set up a session that we call Breaking Barriers. This is almost like a free flow facilitated by expert sessions. We're quite mindful that we're also human beings. We come even amongst ourselves with stereotypes, language issues, perceptions, misunderstanding, and all sorts of things. And the days, as you would recognize this morning, the groups are going back to their small groups of 20. And they're meeting with people they've never seen before. They're connecting, they're engaging. They're talking about who they are. They're talking about obstacles they've reached in life and connecting and forming bonds. And that, for us, will not be achieved in just the 2 half days, but we believe it's a start of something to take us forward. So we're quite mindful that even our big dream of strengthening the African women's movement has lots of work that we need to do internally to ourselves as human beings, amongst ourselves as women, before we even say the rest of the continent needs to change.
Thank you very much. Linda Vilakazi is one of the organizers of the Africa Women in Dialogue meeting here in Boksburg, and we are here for another 4 days. And of course, women are expecting to come out with solutions for their inclusion in economic development on the continent. And now it's over to Valen Sport.